Cool. I see myself on Twitch. Hello and welcome to the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream here on twitch.tv/DDOstream and youtube.com/DungeonsandDragons/live. I am DDO's community manager, Cordovan, and I am on an internal development server today. I'm going to be showing off some of the goodies that you can see on Update 34 that weren't ready in time for our Update 34 preview. Depending on how long this takes and what kind of questions I get and what all ends up happening question-wise on the live stream, I may head to Caneth a little bit later on today. If so, that would be... I'm pretty sure on Caneth is a druid character I have, and that's sort of in the low-mid heroics. Stay tuned on that, though, because I have a feeling we have a lot to talk about today. So we may end up doing largely a lot more Q&A than playing today, but we'll see. First off, Lamania is open? Question mark. The answer is yes, Lamania is open with a new preview of Reaper difficulty and Update 34. Unfortunately, as Bortek just so eloquently put in our chat room here on Twitch, it ain't working for a bunch of people, and we're working to fix that. There's actually a discussion happening, well, at least it was happening as I was walking into the room here, about whether or not we're going to do a rebuild of Update 34 and push that out to Lamania perhaps tonight, something like that. It takes about 6 hours or so. At the very least, you just build the build, and then they have to check it out with QA and do the staging and approval and all that sort of thing. So, unclear if that's going to be today, tomorrow, what exactly is going on there, but we know that there's some bugs right now accessing Lamania, so if you're one of the unfortunate folks who can't get on to preview Reaper difficulty, we do apologize for that. However, we do have the Lamania release notes updated, and that includes the Reaper trees, which we'll be taking a look at today, in addition to some other release notes and a big ol' nerf to hurl through hell. Actually, it's not that big a nerf, but it kind of is. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I imagine I'm probably going to get some questions about the other note in the Lamania release notes. We said we were going to do it earlier, and then in our Lamania previews it didn't end up making it to the Lamania preview server, and now it did, and it's caused a lot of discussion on the forums. We have our 2-level cap to enter Reaper quests in this build of Lamania. And I know a lot of folks have probably some questions related to that, so we can get into that in just a little bit. But before I open the floodgates to and don the flame suit, let me do some fun stuff first. But before I do that, thank you very much, 40 Forstra, Marching Kid, Snow White Fox, Javur, Mr. Shampy, Isander, Dan Teal, Helena, Og, Bortek, Big Sugar, and everyone else in our chat room. I really do appreciate you being here today. Thank you as well to everyone over on the YouTube side of things who are joining us over on YouTube. Nice to see you here as well. I am on what's called Flamekeep. This is our internal development server. This is a server that we use, QA uses to check out the nightly build. It's a server I use, frankly, to do some admin-y things, like if I want to grab screenshots of things that aren't yet into the game, like some cosmetics, things like that, Update 34 loot. This is the version of the game client that is most closely tied to the day-to-day activity of the development team. They do check-ins, and then every night a build is done that gets propped to Flamekeep here. And so it also means it's the least stable server out of the whole pool. Because, you know, oops, the build broke. Oops, guess we need to fix that. But it's also one that has the most up-to-date sort of graphics and changes and things like that. So that's why I'm using it for Reaper and such today. First off, I wanted to show one of the benefits of running Reaper difficulty. We have got some cosmetics that are coming in Update 34 here. You'll be able to access these cosmetics by hitting certain milestones with Reaper XP. I believe it's something like 30, 60, 90, something like that. And then these vendors will be made available to you. Unfortunately, we have a situation which people can see on Lamania as well, where things aren't 100% working correctly, but I have some things I can do to um, force it, so to speak. So first off, I'm going to show a couple of the Reaper creature companions that you can earn. This is, like I say, just a kind of a junk character here. There are 4 kinds of Reaperling certificates. Each of them are bound to account. Once you click on it, of course, it'll add it to your stable per server there. So I'm going to add the Reaperling to the stable, and then put them out. You got the little Reaperling cosmetics here. There are 4 kinds of Reaperling creature companions that you'll be able to play around with. Each of them, of course, has their own little tricks. Play dead. That's nice. They can cower. They can groove. And they can dance. Actually, they have other things too. They can also yell. And there may be some tricks and things like that in the store for them. So there's the first Reaper creature companion. Let me create the next one here. This is the Chili Reaperling certificate. You know, the icy one that you may know. So it really just kind of depends on sort of what how they work there. You know, I mean, it's the base model is similar to them. It's just similar to different colors and that sort of thing. There's the ice one, the shadow one. Let me actually double check on these next two. The Sniffly Reaper certificate. I think that's the disease one. Is that right? Yeah, they sort of greenish bone. And then finally, we have got the Shaky Reaperling certificate. Cool. So the way you're going to earn these is they'll be added to your creature companion stable. Like I say, a lot of this stuff is not going to be preserved through TR, but you can repurchase them on your next life. How do you repurchase them? It's a plat cost. Once you've unlocked the certain level of Reaper XP, essentially, to be able to purchase them. It's not particularly a significant a plat cost, but it is something you may need to do a couple of times. But that is not all. Let me actually head. Maybe I should go somewhere it's a little bit with different lighting. How about Yarland should be okay. I wanted to get some somewhat different lighting in here so that you can see some of the other things we got going on. I'm actually going to dismiss the Reaper here so it doesn't get in the way. This is not 100% working, again, on Flamekeep. Like I say, we do have some things we're working on, but what I'm doing is I'm causing this to happen, and I can show you how this will work. So, similar to the creature companions, you'll be able to purchase cosmetic potions from these vendors. Now, these cosmetic potions, you'll use them, and they will grant you a feat. Now, that feat, you'll be able to toggle on and off in order to make this thing look. Now, why do we kind of go through this convoluted method of feats and all that? It's because this will work with your other cosmetics. It doesn't take a head slot, it doesn't take an armor slot, it doesn't take an eye slot, things like that. So you'll be able to toggle these on and off throughout that. And we have several different colors of wings that you can have. Let me stop the other one here. There we go. Got the white wings here. Got green. Again, for those who are just joining me now, I'm on an internal development server showing some things that will be coming very soon with Update 34. This is stuff that you cannot currently see in the live worlds. And then finally, my son's favorite color, purple. But that's not all. We also have some new eyes, some fiery looking eyes. So let me run that script and show you what that looks like. So it'll kind of give you a fiery look on your eyes as well. And again, that comes in the same group of colors. I'm running scripts here, that's why they're overriding each other. There we go. Like the purple eyes. And those will actually work with the regular, I don't think I've got any in my inventory here, like the glowing eyes that you can equip to your character and all that as well. And let me see if I can equip a head slot, show you what happens there. As you can see here, it'll even show through, depending on the kind of helmet you have, you know, through the slots there as well. Let me take a quick look at our chat room here, just kind of see if we got any good questions. I'll call mine gaseous clay, like it. How do we get them? You'll get the creature companions from running Reaper difficulty, and once you've unlocked a certain level of Reaper difficulty, you'll be able to purchase the Reaperling creature companions and add them to your stable. Same with these these eyes and wings. They're level unlocked based on Reaper difficulty. You earn Reaper XP, you turn it in for Reaper points, and then you spend those Reaper points to unlock various things, including the tree, which we'll get to shortly. But you can also unlock the vendors, which you will then purchase these things using a small amount of plat. And again, like these wings and that do not persist through TR because they're toggled to a feat that you can toggle on and off. However, you can just repurchase them for a pretty low plat cost every life if you want to. Is there a specific duration? No, they are a cosmetic, so they're permanent. Well, I mean, you can toggle it on and off based on the feat, as you wish. Will we be able to combine the different color wings? I'm not sure. As you see right here, I was just able to do it, but I would need to check to QA to see if that's an actual bug or if that's intended. I don't know the answer to that. Sorry, Migotech. There's not a pink version yet. Perhaps it's something we can do. You will purchase each of the wings separately, and the eyes separately. So it's not, you don't purchase once to get all of them. You get to select and then repurchase, or purchase as many of them as you feel you would like. Are these Reaper rewards only? Yes. Let's see, I think there was a couple of color eyes I haven't shown. I suppose I could just do that real quick. I have to admit I'm a little partial to the green, particularly on this character when I've got the green armor, right? Tell me that doesn't look pretty badass. So, there's green. And then finally we have got white. Oops. Oh, that's the stop script, not the run script. Okay. There we go, and then there's the white. Alright, so that's that section there. So let me, just for the purposes of the thing here, I guess I can leave them on just so that you can have something cool to look at while I show off the trees as well. So this is sort of the cosmetic section of Reaper difficulty, but there's another section here that you'll be able to earn besides the Mythic and Reaper bonuses and increased drop rate on the Reaper difficulty stuff. There are Reaper trees, enhancement trees. And this is the first time that folks have seen them on Lamania yesterday and now here on the live stream today. We're going to not go through maybe all the nitty-gritty, but I can show you in general what they are, and you can find this on the Lamania release notes. I will actually put up that release note page when we get time to look through this. So these have certain level requirements, as you can see, and similar to other enhancement trees, you do have to have a certain amount of points spent in them. The core enhancements are, for the most part, things that apply both in Reaper difficulty and out of Reaper difficulty. There are minor bonuses, like +1 melee range power. Not entirely insignificant, but +2 hit and damage. They're enticements to help get people to run Reaper difficulty just throughout all the content. Most of the trees themselves, though, pretty much all the stuff on all the trees, all 5 tiers, are Reaper difficulty only. So the only time they're going to apply to your character is when you're running Reaper difficulty stuff. There are 3 trees. One is weapons, one is spell casting, and one is tank. Weapons, spells, tank. The weapons are basically a little bit more melee power, tactics DCs. You will earn Reaper charges in this weapons tree, and then you'll be able to expend that to do things like Ghost Touch, Fortification Bypass, Dodge Bypass, etc., etc. And that's really how that works. So not a huge benefit, but this is kind of a minor benefit to help get you up a few tiers in difficulty, provided you invest and succeed in Reaper difficulty. So there are some benefits for succeeding there. For the spellcaster side, it tends to be more spell points on the core trees. You can get a couple to your spell DCs, and again you get like +1 to your thing there. A little bit of universal spell power. Otherwise, the trees here largely, again, relate to spell power, universal spell power, spell DCs, and spell penetration. Let's see if we have anything in particular. There we go. And then the tank one. This is one that's I think some people are going to like, and these numbers are not only are subject to change, but I promise you will change. They will change. We've already been doing some talking about that, but the defense tree will get you some hit points, saving throws, things like that. A little bit of PRR, MRR. Etc., etc. Alright, I am going to pop on over to a different screen to just show you a little bit better sense of what the actual trees are number-wise for folks who like to do the reading. And again, you can see this on the Lamania release notes over on the DDO forums right now if you're curious. Yeah, Civic Spoon is saying, Kokuma Jobo is saying, that they plan to get a new build of Lamania up later this afternoon or evening. So here's the trick, though, is they were here till like 5 o'clock in the morning. So Kokuma Jobo and Cookie Kobold need to get some sleep. So they, while this thing's doing the rebuild, they're going home, taking a little nap and all that sort of thing. So, all right. So Reaper difficulty. Here's the updated release notes. As you can see, the cores of the weapons are just a couple of pluses to hit damage, melee and ranged power, and then all the rest is all in Reaper difficulty there. The spells, like I said, are mostly DCs on spell points. A little bit, a couple points universal spell power. And then all the rest is Reaper difficulty only. And then the tank, like I said, I have a feeling some of these hit point totals are going to change. But right now it's plus 10, 20, and then up to 100 hit points. But I'm pretty sure that's not going to stick around. Or be lowered, I think. Alright, so that's what we got going on there. DDO Legend, don't like these trees. Please let us know what it is you think you would like to see maybe adjusted with that. Do we have a date for the official release of the update? No. As you can see in today's build, we still have a few issues we need to work out before we put together a release candidate. So I'm going to say our goal is to get it out next week. We should, most likely it'll be out next week, but we don't have a formal day yet because we have, at least one more build to do here. With Reaper trees, are we not afraid of Reaper 1 Skull becoming even easier than Elite? That's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. If that proves to be a situation that we might need to worry about, then perhaps we can do some adjustments there, but for the most part, the math doesn't support that, where even Reaper 1, even if you get all these bonuses in a tree at a time, right, you're not going to do better than you are in Elite. But we'll see. We'll see. If we're wrong about that, that's something we can take a look at. When do the things that work outside of Reaper kick in? Level 120, etc., etc. Let me go back to our Reaper tree screen and I'll get you that information shortly here. So for the cores, level 4 is core, I guess, 0 or 1, however you want to call it. Level 9 for 2. Level 15 for core 3. Level 21 for core 4. Level 25 for core 5. And level 30 for core 6. What about ingredient drops for crafting while in Reaper? I don't know that we specifically have that increased on Reaper difficulty, but perhaps it's something we should take a look at. Has the LFM UI been changed to allow people to put up ads for Reaper difficulty? I'm going to have to look into that. I don't know. Alright. Let me see here. I have to say I don't understand the logic, Dantiel says, of giving these bonuses. Is the worry that people won't run Reaper without something to chase? The goal is to find that fine line between enticing people to run Reaper difficulty, rewarding those who are willing to do the investment and effort, while also at the same time not making it feel mandatory for people who are not interested in running Reaper. I know that that opens up a wide range of opinions about whether we've succeeded in that regard or not, but that is the goal. We tried to find a fine line where investing your time and energy into Reaper difficulty will reward you by being able to slowly over time, besides mastery of the content, get a few legs up that'll help you run more difficult Reaper content. Additionally then, oops. That's what I want. But we don't want it to feel mandatory. And that's, of course, the tricky part. Wanted to show you something fun here, too. Yes, if you are on a druid, you can have wings on your bears. And wolves. Oh, except the eyes are not working, it looks like in bear form here. Flamekeep. Oh, it's the eyes. Sorry. Wings, fire. There we go. See if I can try a different set of eyes. So maybe if I run the script again, it'll work. Nope, it looks like the eyes are not working on animal forms, but the wings. Oh, they are, but they're just not quite functioning correctly. That's something we'll have to work on. Like I say, this is an internal build for a reason. Why with the 120% bonus on first run on Reaper difficulty? Because it's a... I mean, this kind of starts going into the more difficult conversation that I know folks would like me to have, and we will talk about. But if we did not have that XP bonus, the likely outcome would be people would run Elite instead during their level up process, who would otherwise run Reaper, but would want to min-max things like that. Remember that, and this is where I'm opening up the... See this can of worms? Reaper is not meant to be an endgame thing. It's not necessarily meant to be a high level 30 activity as well. I know that that goes against what some folks on the forums in particular have suggested that they would like for Reaper difficulty, which is sort of creating a new level 30 endgame system. But that's not actually the intention. It is just a first time bonus as well there on that bonus XP. Thimble says, so the core Reaper enhancements will apply outside Reaper difficulty, correct? Yes. There are a couple set parts of those core bonuses that specify Reaper difficulty only, but for the most part, they are both in and outside of Reaper. Is it called Reaper bonuses to tactical DCs? That's a very good question. Let me see what it says here. I'm pretty sure it's just like any other enhancement, which would be a spell DC. It's just gonna give you an extra DC there. Will Reaper XP fall into the weekly bonus rotation? It's something we've considered, Big Sugar, but no. Certainly not off the bat. We're not going to have Reaper XP weekends. This is something that I think will stick around independent of bonuses, but perhaps in the future we can do something like that. Yeah, as you can see, we need to do some work on the bear and wolf forms if we're going to make it work there. Alright, folks, let me get into the tough one. Is SSG looking at getting rid of the overlevel lockout? No. Not at this time. So, unlike previous previews on Lamania, this one we were able to implement that level lockout that we had talked about earlier, and then changed, and then went back to on Lamania. So, if you need to be the level, your character needs to be the level of the quest you're running, or that quest needs to be higher level in order to run it on Reaper difficulty. The base XP of a quest cannot be more than 2 levels under your level in order to be able to enter it on Reaper difficulty. There's several reasons why we're doing this. Reaper difficulty is meant to present the toughest challenge for the toughest characters, and we've offered incentives to help motivate those folks to do the work. On Lamania so far, in previous previews, people have figured out the best way to game the system, essentially, to run low-level quests on Reaper difficulty on their max-level characters in order to maximize the loot drop chance, the mythic bonus drop chance, and then to a lesser extent, at least about 4 levels over, the Reaper XP bonus. But the intention is not to run Reaper difficulty on the easiest possible setting for you. The goal is to run Reaper difficulty on a difficult setting, and then receive the rewards for that appropriately. I know some folks have been looking forward, say at level 30, to running level 5, level 10 quests on Reaper Skull 10, and then kind of just zooming their way through Reaper difficulty in kind of a min-max fashion, and then garnering all the benefits from doing that. But that is not the intention of Reaper, and it would trivialize the very design goals of Reaper itself. That said, we are not unaware of the feedback on the forums that is from our level 30 characters who are saying, well, there's only about 10% of the quests are going to be available to run on Reaper difficulty as a level 30 character, due to that level lockout mechanism, because it's going to have to be level 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So for that 5 level range of quests, players are going to be able to run those at cap on Reaper difficulty. but it's not the same as, say, being able to run every quest in the game on Reaper difficulty, figure out, say, which ones are the easiest, and then min-max that to reap all the rewards from Reaper difficulty, which people had been doing on Lamania, and now are telling us on the forums in, say, the last 12 hours or so, that that's what they want Reaper difficulty to be. But that's not the intention of Reaper difficulty. That's not to say we're going to ignore your feedback. We are very much listening to your feedback and wanting to respond to it in that today. But we're hesitant to make Reaper difficulty... Reaper difficulty should be not easy. Regardless of whether you want to reap all the rewards for it through the easiest method possible, that's not the intention of Reaper. So we understand that there is a desire for level 30 characters to have a wider number of Reaper quests that they could run, and that's something that we'll have to look at in the future in terms of ways we might be able to accomplish that. But in terms of debuting Reaper difficulty, with the debut of Update 34, it is likely we will keep this level cap restriction in place. In general, it's easier to lessen restrictions over time based on feedback from the community and, the results of seeing people actually do these things than it is to make it more restrictive after debuting with a less restrictive state. So I think that that's probably what's going to be happening here with Update 34. Nightmare Night, are you not hearing me? Is someone not hearing me? Wyatt Earp, in chat, the DDO worlds are open. They are actually open right now. I'm just on the internal development server so I can show you the Reaper enhancement trees and the cosmetics and wings here. Kametka, what would be the point of implementing a hard mode system if everyone can run anything on it they want at cap? That is generally the philosophy we're going with. Sir Monsalot, you're misunderstanding people who, what these folks are saying. If that's so, please let me know. Respectfully, Civic Spoon says there was never a public discussion of a 2 over level cap. I said it on the live stream here. I said it in our preview. We said it on the forums when we were talking about Reaper difficulty quite a while ago. But I appreciate that it was not particularly vocal. And people, when we would say that all quests were available on Reaper difficulty, sort of interpret that to mean that their level 30 characters could run any quest on Reaper difficulty. And for that mistake, or for that misunderstanding, I apologize. Dantiel says, I think many envisioned Reaper as a level 30 thing for all quests, but that's not actually the case. Yeah. Is there any type of ransack mechanism on Reaper XP? It is a similar mechanism to regular XP ransack, I believe. Sir Monsalat says, I just want to play challenging content that used to be easy, like Caught in the Web, Demon Queen, Vaughn 5, 6, etc. Yeah, I mean, we do recognize that feedback, that desire for level 30 characters to run that stuff on Reaper 10, things like that. And we're not, we're not unsympathetic to that desire. Perhaps there's something we can do in the future to, say, remove the rewards from Reaper difficulty but allow access. But that's not what we're going to debut here with Update 34, and I do apologize for that. Yeah, sorry. Okay. All quests are not going to be available on Reaper. Most quests will be available on Reaper, provided you're within the proper level range. There's a few quests like the Korthos Island stuff, I think the box breaking quest in Harbor, a couple of ones that, would just not really be appropriate for Reaper difficulty. We have the ability to set that flag individually to say, no, you can't run this one on Reaper. But most of the quests are going to be available. Do the Tomes of Learning influence the Reaper XP you get? I don't know the answer to that, but I think the answer is no. Because those Tomes of Learning are for Heroic XP and Epic XP. I don't believe Reaper XP will count for any of those. What if we allowed any Epic quests to be opened on Reaper for any Epic level characters? The concern with doing that is we would overly encourage level capped characters to run Epic Reaper quests. Why would you run a Reaper difficulty quest at level, say, 22, 24, 25, rather than wait till level 30 to make it as trivial as possible to succeed? Alright, over to YouTube. I was hoping for Reaper stuff that buffs the party in Reaper difficulty, however that would be implemented. Yep, you are going to see that in these Reaper trees here to some extent. They're mostly self-buffs, but I believe there are a couple of things that should benefit the group there. Someone's saying, I like the design goal of not allowing upper or level 30 characters to game the system. Yep. No one will go for Reaper at level 4 or even 15. Leveling is too fast to do that. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see on that. Ideally, we've incentivized things that people who are looking, who have been telling us for years that they want that kind of particular challenge, will be willing then to embrace that kind of particular challenge at the level up process. And that's sort of been the design goal of Reaper difficulty from day one. But ultimately, we are here to provide challenge to those who want it. So if those people ultimately reject it, well, see what happens, I guess. Wilford, do you think DDO will be updated so it takes advantage of newer hardware and optimization for newer GPUs and multi-threaded and core CPUs? We've had some discussions about 64-bit stuff, but it's going to be a ways off if it happens. Sorry. But theoretically, it could happen someday. Okay, tell us more about this nerfing on Hurl Through Hell. Yes. Okay, sorry about that. Yes. Death effects, including the Warlock feat Hurl Through Hell and Trap the Soul, although Trap the Soul's never been as big a deal about that because of the cap on it, are now properly blocked by Death Wards. These effects will continue to work on undead or monsters who are only protected by their own racial traits, genius, or other such effects, but if they are specifically blocked by Death Ward effects, Hurl Through Hell is going to block it, or be blocked. Additionally, Hurl Through Hell now has a spell point cost of 20 spell points. Hurl Through Hell is essentially a one-shot insta-death, basically no-fail insta-death every 25 seconds currently for many Warlocks. And as someone who's in a group with the Warlock, I am well aware of just how incredibly powerful Hurl Through Hell is. It's still going to be extremely powerful, but say specific red named that that have death block, and some champions that have death block, things like that, will no longer be able to just be trivially one shot by Hurl Through Hell every 25 seconds. The spell point cost is really just to prevent a constant spam without some sort of decision to invest in the spell points to be able to do that. Frankly, a lot of Warlocks, they're kind of sitting on on spell points right now. I don't know if too many Warlocks that are running out of spell points consistently, but maybe they will be now. But this will take 20 spell points there. Overall, though, like I say, it's a nerf in that it's not going to be able to just be used to just kind of one-shot red name bosses and massive hit point mobs and things like that it's been used quite successfully for in the past year and a half or so. But it still is a one-shot that most creatures are going to be one-shot from, so hopefully it should be okay. Some of the quests are harder than others in DDO. If you can solo Epic Elite Snitch, that's not the same as soloing Epic Elite What Goes Up. Few can solo Epic Normal What Goes Up, let alone Hard. Yeah, that's true. Someone's saying the wings look a little anime. This is a one option. Now that we have this tech and this ability to do it, we can do some pretty cool things, I think, in the future with it. Shroud Crystal has Death Block? I don't actually know. Does it? I think so, right? But I've never really heard of Shroud Crystals being a particular issue anyway. That's true. Legendary Elite Shroud. Hurling was pretty nice for that. Yes, we do have a new quest coming in Update 34. It's the Tower of Frost. If I can get back to the game client, I will actually show you where you can find it here. I think, you can still disintegrate it, and there's a bunch of things you can do. I don't expect it to be a particular challenge, even on Legendary Elite, but, this was the preferred method, so I can understand that a change in tactics will be necessary. Yes, I'm running super fast. For I am an admin. Here we go. Krabben Bix will get you into the new quest here. And again, here's the Reaper difficulty here. Oh, there's one other level restriction on Reaper difficulty I should let people be aware of, and that is you cannot enter a heroic Reaper quest on epic difficulty for basically the same reasons there. So if you think about Reaper as having the same CR as Elite, you need to be at the level of the dungeon on Elite to be able to enter on Reaper difficulty, or it's got to be even higher than you. Has Shroud Trash been nerfed? I don't know. I haven't heard of that. I don't think so. It almost seems like you could make a flowing cape now based on this wing technology. Horns, tails, Asimir, Tiefling? Yeah, you guys are reading our minds. There we go. This is some pretty cool stuff. But like I say, it's going to be a potion. So you'll chug the potion, you'll get the feat. The feat will be used to toggle it on and off, and it does work with other cosmetics that you might have. And yes, here's the free quest, which I guess I'm not going to totally spoil for thee now. For Reaper, will the old Amrath quests and Canath quests be considered heroic or epic since they straddle that balancing line? That's a very good question and a good point. My understanding is it's unchanged from current live. So I believe those count as heroic rather than epic, right? I know at least the Canath stuff is. Alright, let's see. What else can I talk about? There are a couple other things that are in this release notes that I guess I could bring up a little bit. Here we go. Most Defender NPCs and allies will no longer be showing up as champions. We're thankfully able to get that fixed here for Update 34. That's new. For those who are curious, we are lowering the aggro range for monsters. They will not share aggro if a player in stealth kills them, like assassins, unless their friends are looking at them. This allows assassins to attack monster packs in stealth, as long as they manage sight lines. A little bit of a change from what it was prior to the aggro change, but it should help out assassins quite a bit. Human action boosts will no longer have a separate cooldown from other sources of action boosts. They will have a separate number of uses per rest. I know there's a lot on the forums about that as well. That was largely about our desire to do a rebalancing of the racial trees and not being able to really be successful at that unless we took care of this kind of obvious go-to that was a little bit of an outlier, unfortunately. Oh, here we go. We've jacked up the snowball, the free snowball item that you can get here for the new Update 34 quests. Both the heroic and epic versions have had their damage dice updated to 1d4. They have a crit profile now of 18 to 20. The projectile will move a lot faster. It'll do cold and bludgeoning damage, in addition to frostbite, which is a stacking cold vulnerability. So if you are someone that uses it frequently, not only will it do more damage right off the bat, but it'll do even more damage over time as you hit mobs with it frequently. I know that we got a lot of feedback on that snowball saying, a little on the weak side, ain't it? And so this is an attempt to help balance that out. Keep in mind, this is a free quest. It's a pretty easy to get item, so yeah, it's not going to compete with, say, your legendary green steel on that. That's deliberate. But it's still a pretty cool item, and hopefully it's a little bit better now with these changes. What else are in the notes here that we could probably mention? Oh yeah, Reaper trees can be reset similar to the way enhancement trees can be reset, so you can either use platinum or astral shards, and the cost will go up the more you do it. So the first reset's cheap, second reset's still cheap, third reset's is a little bit more expensive but still pretty cheap, and then over time, it gets to be a little more expensive, and the reason for that is largely to prevent people from just constantly resetting their trees all the time. All right, and like I said, we got a new version of Lamania that hopefully will be up, I'm going to guess, tonight. Could be tomorrow, though, if something comes up. Double action boosting was nice, yeah, it was. It was not an easy decision to make. and it was one that we had a lot of discussion on in the pit from both sides. But ultimately it came down to, we want to improve all the racial trees, and it's really going to be hard to do that if they all have to compete with the human action boost. Will we keep Reaper XP after a true reincarnation? Yes. Everything basically in Reaper remains unlocked upon true reincarnation. GDO reboot? Question mark. Not short term anyway. No real plans for that. So if I want to farm a helm on Reaper for the stat bonus, I have to be the same level as the quest. So no level 30 farming Dragon's Helms for Tor. Is that correct? Yes. Can I turn on the orange wings again? Yeah. They're not orange, though. They're red. But yes, I would be happy to. Man, I'm going to have to take that back to the team saying we should be able to stack these. Gosh, it's sweet. I like the multi-stacking. I hope we can do that. Maybe there's a technical reason, though, why that would not be desirable. But I'll have to check into that. Oops.
Though the weather in the rest of Stormreach is hot and sultry, snow drifts down from the top of the wizard's tower.
Did I get my media room PC fixed, or had I killed it stone cold dead? It needed, I didn't kill it, but I did kill a couple of the fans in it. They had to replace a few of the fans, and yeah, that was basically the big thing. I overheated the CPU. Kametka is saying there was actually a way you could get 3 of those action boosts to launch at the same time. Well, set of fire wings and a fire elemental. Ooh, hey, yeah, that's a good question. I am on my druid, so I should be able to put it into elemental form here. There we go. Hell yeah. We get out of this dungeon. So I can show it off a little bit better. There we go. Sweet. Wisdomman says, I don't mind TRing to Reaper XP, but having to keep the characters at a specific level to farm the gear I want is going to suck. That's something, you know, like I said, this is all brand new feedback, right? And we've been getting very strong feedback on the forums over the last 12 hours or so. So we're going to have to take that feedback, you know, and consider it, but there will be a level restriction launching here with Reaper difficulty, most likely. How do you get the wings? You will earn Reaper XP and then you will, once you hit a certain threshold, you'll be able to purchase these things from the vendors. They will come in a potion. You'll chug the potion, and you will get a feat. You'll be able to toggle that feat to toggle on and off the display. Do the Reaper wings provide illumination and rainbow in the dark? I don't know. Let me see if I might be able to wrap things up here because it is 1 o'clock. Let's take that as the final question, most likely. Let's see. Rainbow. It's not really letting me do it. Alright, sorry about that. I guess I can't answer that question right now. I'm going to say no, probably not, because if it had an independent light source, it might potentially cause a game performance issue with a whole party full of wings. So my guess is that's not the case. Release date still yet to be announced, most likely next week. And we'll narrow that down as we do a little bit of the final check-ins and work necessary to get it ready to launch. Do the wings have to be toggled on every time you log on? Probably. What's the time frame for the Ravenloft expansion? Latter half of 2017. Is the upcoming Snowball still a one-time crit multiplier? I don't think so. I think it's times 2, 18 to 20. Alright, sounds good. And we do appreciate the conversation, frankly, on this Reaper XP and level cap stuff. It's good to get that level of feedback from folks, even if, some of that feedback's pretty negative, because it's getting us some good information to consider for sure. So, all right, so thank you for watching the weekly Wednesday Lunchtime live stream here on twitch.tv/DDOstream and youtube.com/DungeonsandDragons/live. This archive will go up a little bit later this afternoon on both Twitch and YouTube. DDO As She Is Played begins at 4 o'clock Eastern, and you can find our full schedule over on the Twitch page. I'll be back Friday at noon for Friday afternoon. Until then, everyone, thank you very much. I'll see you again soon.